This is Rob Tubbett for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined here by Thomas Hauser once again this week in the immediate aftermath of Andy Ruiz's stunning knockout victory over Anthony Joshua. Tom, first and foremost, tell me about that fight.
Wow, it was a stunner. There are very few good things about mismatches. Maybe the only good thing about mismatches in boxing is that on occasion it leads to a massive upset, and that's what we saw tonight. Andy Ruiz came out and dominated this fight from beginning to end, with the exception of that short segment in round 3 where he got hit, knocked down, got back up, put Anthony Joshua in trouble almost immediately. It was an amazing performance by Andy Ruiz, and let's face it, Anthony Joshua looked awful. He got hit and hurt, and it appeared never recovered from the knockdown in the third round, the 2 knockdowns in the third round. But he didn't look good before that either, except for that brief segment. First 2 rounds, Ruiz was the aggressor, which confounded everybody. He moved forward behind the jab, throwing left hooks. And Anthony looked like he was sort of sitting back, trying to figure him out, but he wasn't doing much, and he didn't figure him out. It's a stunning upset. It has all sorts of social, economic implications for the world of boxing. And this is a reminder why boxing is such a great sport.
Now, we spoke the other day about economic and social impacts of sports, of boxing match. Where would you rank this with regards to comparing it to other big knockouts, other big upsets, victories in the heavyweight division?
This is up there with them. I mean, this ranks up there with Cassius Clay beating Sonny Liston. Obviously, people think of Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson, Max Schmeling upsetting Joe Louis the first time they fought, although that wasn't a heavyweight championship fight. This was a massive, massive upset. I don't know anybody in the media who says that they saw this coming.
Sorry, we were in a very, very busy, bustling press conference.
We're trying to do an interview. It's okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas. Now, you mentioned in the first couple of rounds that Anthony Joshua didn't quite look himself. Why do you think that was? Obviously, you're not privy to his camp and his build-up. Do you think that potentially the last-minute change of opponent, well, not last minute, but the change of opponent could have affected his preparation?
My sense is the change of opponents wasn't what caused the problems tonight. AJ was probably sitting back as he usually does. A lot of people were saying that he had to go out and score a first-round knockout to look good so he could equal Deontay Wilder, and obviously that was not his strategy. He said, I'm going to go out, take my time, figure him out, do what I have to do. And he obviously never figured him out. And then he got hit, he got hurt, and my sense is that he never recovered from that knockdown. Oh well. It's not that the crowd here is noisy, there's one person who's noisy, who probably shouldn't be here anyway, but that's another whole issue.
Yeah, we'll skate past that. Eddie Hearn in the ring after the fight. Basically all but confirmed there was a rematch clause in the contract, and that Anthony would be exercising that. Do you see it being different next time around based on what we saw tonight?
I would assume it's different the next time around, but I assumed that Anthony was going to win tonight. The biggest problem for Anthony coming out of this is that it raises questions as to his ability to take a punch. Now, he took some pretty good punches from Vladimir Klitschko, came back and won, but here he just couldn't come back. And so, will there be a rematch? Yeah, there's too much money not to have a rematch. The rematch will be in England, I assume, or somewhere in the UK. Will it be different? If I had to bet, I would bet on AJ in the rematch. He is such a superior physical specimen. He's the better athlete. But boy, Andy Ruiz just beat him every which way tonight. He was faster, he was better, he took a better punch. I mean, this was a thorough beating. Andy really did a number. Now, is it possible that AJ got hurt in the third round and just never recovered? Yeah, that happens to fighters. Some people said he quit. To me, he's not a quitter. He showed against Vladimir Klitschko that he's not a quitter. But this is a shocker. I mean, we were all sitting there, as the fight was going on, shaking our heads and saying, wow. And, the first 2 rounds I was watching this and I was saying, if AJ sits back against Deontay Wilder like this, he's going to get whacked because you can't give Wilder time and space to punch. And then all of a sudden he gets whacked by Andy Ruiz. And he gets through the 3rd round. 4th round, he was just trying to survive. 5th round, he started to come back. I actually thought AJ won the 5th round. That was the only round I gave him. But at the same time, you're saying, Andy Ruiz is putting rounds in the bank. AJ might have to knock him out to win this, and I'm not sure that he can. And then Andy just unloaded on him, started going to the head and body, mixing punches well. Took him out. It was a good stoppage by Mike Griffin, who's a good referee. What can you say? It was a massive, massive upset. That's why they fight the fights.
And just finally, because I'm assuming that hopefully we're going to be getting started soon, there might be wishful thinking on my part.
Good luck on that.
Yeah, might be wishful thinking on my part.
The over-under is another 45 minutes. I'm betting the over.
But nevertheless, final word on, you've been around the sport for so long. The sport has never had a Mexican world heavyweight champion. It now has a Mexican world heavyweight champion. What kind of impact can that have on the sport?
Well, he's a Mexican-American heavyweight champion. He was born in the United States. He's lived his whole life in the United States. I believe he fought for the Mexican Olympic team on one occasion because his parents or one of his parents, maybe both, were born in Mexico. But he's American through and through. Talking about him as a Mexican was more a marketing tool than anything else. The hope was that the same way a number of Mexican Americans signed up for DAZN to see Canelo, well, let's back Andy Ruiz too. So no, he's an American, but boy, what an upset! Wow, you can't come up with enough adjectives to describe the shock as this unfolded. There will be a lot of schadenfreude. A lot of people are going to be snickering and ha-ha, but I feel sorry for Anthony. He's a very gracious man. I thought he was a little bit too gracious in losing tonight. I would have liked to see him a little more upset about this loss, and I suspect at some point it's going to hit how things just came crashing down and the smile will be gone. And this is a hard pill for Anthony to digest. Obviously, it's a huge loss for Eddie Hearn. And, it happens. That's why we watch the fights.
Okay, well, Thomas Hauser, thank you very much for speaking to Boxing Social, not only today, but the other day as well at the press conference. It's been a real pleasure to spend this time around you. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Hopefully we can do this again sometime soon.
I would love to.